All right, so this morning, whatever day it is, I'm going to take you through the basics of ArchiCAD. We're going to start off really basic just so that we can get our heads around, how much you can do with this program without it being too complex. So I'm going to take you through now just the basic modelling tools. And then in the next couple of videos, we'll go through looking at different stories. We'll look at creating environment, adding furniture, people, trees, all of that sort of thing. And then we'll get on in the later videos to documenting our drawings. Okay, so I've opened a new document. As you'll see, I've got design, document, and more tabs here. And then we've got the navigator on the right-hand side. We're not going to worry about the navigator just yet, but I just want to show you where these things are. Okay, on your screen, you'll see you've got these lines. Look, you can use those as elevations that are already set up for you, but I generally just ignore them and then I set up my own elevations. All right, so we've got the design tools. So we've got walls, doors, everything you need in here to start to develop your design. Now you can see you've got things like beams and columns. Look, these don't have to be used as as beams and columns. They could be used as sculptural structural elements, or they could be used as cladding, or whatever, however creative you want to be on ArchiCAD you can be, which will bring me to explain morph tools, shell tools, and these sort of things later. But I'm going to start with a really simple construction. So I'm selecting my wall tool. I click on the settings. Now I don't use the drop down bar, I just click on the settings like this. Geometry and positioning. So it's telling me that it's a 250mm brick veneer wall. I'm just going to leave it at this. Now remember, fellas, for your Viscom folio, you're not being marked in a way that we'll be looking at the structural integrity. So I'm not going to look at your designs and say, oh, this column isn't sitting in the right load-bearing area for this to be a really structural building. I'm looking at it and saying, how creative is this? What's the design? Okay, so remember that. Don't get too caught up in what your building's looking like in terms of, structural integrity. Okay, so don't stress too much about this. I generally just leave it on that though, because we can change the materials and the outside look of the wall anyway. At the moment, my wall height is 3,000, so that's 3 meters. You can see that I can't click on that. However, if I want to add height to the wall, I can type in 1,000 here, and that'll automatically change. So we're working in millimeters, remember? So 1,000 millimeters equals a meter, 4,000 equals 4 meters, and I'm going to leave it at that. Now you can see as you click down here, you don't really need to know much about that, but model, the model will actually look at the materials that are put on the outside. So at the moment, these are all white. Now if you just go over here, it says outside face surface, so that's the outside of the wall. I might want to make it, I might do concrete surface. I don't know, whatever. Okay, so I press OK to that. I've got a 4 meter wall. Then I've got to work out, how long I want my wall, etc. Now, if you remember, when I zoom in, I've clicked. Now there's a dark line and a light line. The dark line is always the outside wall. I want a 15 meter wall, so all I'm going to do is type in 15,000, enter. Beautiful. If I use the 3D tab, hurrah, I've got a wall. I can press O for orbit, and then it shows me everything that's happening with my fabulous wall. All right, back to ground. If I've zoomed out and it's like, oh no, where's my plan gone? I can just use fit to window and it brings it all back. Now I'm going to click on this again. You can see that the dark lines on the outside. I might want 12,000 here. Now I might want a curved wall. A few different ways to do this. Now, I can also see how, that's not joining like I wanted it to, but I can click on that and click on the little black node. Now I can either bring it back to here or I can drag it. So currently it's on stretching, so that's bringing that. If I use that, it would actually make it bigger. Otherwise, I can drag, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a nice connection. Okay, cool, circular wall, why not? That should connect a little bit better than that. Work that out later. Okay, back to my walls. I might just make them straight now. Now, say I want to make this wall here in line with this wall. I just direct it straight, and then when I see that little blue line and it's directed straight, I can press Shift and that'll lock it to that guideline. Okay, so even if I move the mouse around, it's not going to go sideways. So I bring it over, line it up, and it's done. Now, say for example, I'll do this one actually. Say for example, my lighter line was on the outside. That's not what I want, okay? I need the darker line to be on the outside. All I need to do is click this button and it's flipped. Easy. All right, let's go to 3D. My orbit's still on. Pretty cool floor plan. Okay, now without putting any internal walls in yet, I'm going to show you a little trick. So we need a slab. What you can do is you can actually trace around. However, when it's a circle, it gets a little bit more complicated. So what I'm going to do, I've clicked on slab. You can check the settings. It's 120 mil thick, so 12 centimeters thick. So it's a 100 mil slab. You can do whatever, but I generally just leave it. I'd like to make the top of mine floorboards. I think they look nice. Now, all I need to do, hover the mouse over, press space, and click. So now you can see if I click on it, I have a slab. It's actually traced it for me, so I don't need to do it myself. So all that was hovering the mouse over, pressing space, and clicking. Alrighty. Generally, I might want mesh as well. So mesh, mesh can be used for anything, but I generally use mesh for the ground, so the earth. So we're creating a bit of a site. Earth, cool. I can go to settings, model, and it's grass. That's fine, that's what I want. Make it nice and big. Now it's asking me, what do I want my grid to be? So a grid allows you to elevate and de-elevate certain aspects of your ground. So I might just do 10 by 10, doesn't really matter too much. Creates a grid. Go to my 3D, check it out. Looks like this. Cool. Alrighty. Beautiful. So now I've got that. If I wanted to make a hill, for example, I can click on one of these little grid lines or the grid intersections, click on Z, and then say I wanted to make it I'll make it 4 meters just so we can see. Okay, so see over here now, we have a hill. Fabulous. So that might come into play if you had your building coming out of the side of a hill or, you know, it was in some rocky terrain or something. It keeps things interesting. Okay, back to my plans. I'm going to make some internal walls now just so we can have a bit of a muck around. Now, internal walls, they are always going to be thinner than external walls because they don't have, for example, the bricks, you know, that would be clad on the outside of an external wall. Generally, I just use 90mm stud partition. Okay, automatically it's still at 4,000, fantastic. I'm just going to chuck some in so that can be a bit of a hallway or something, whatever. Okay, bring that to the middle. Ta-da! Okay. Now, when I'm selected on things and I don't want to be selected on them anymore, I just press escape to bring it back to the mouse. I'm going to put some doors and windows in now. So go to my door settings. So many different things here. I might do this one. Now you can see door settings and opening. Okay, so you can change what that door looks like. And you can go across, you know, there's so much of it that you can change. It's really up to, you know, as wild as you want to be. Handles, whatever you want to do. I'm going to let you guys play with that. You can look at, you know, the materials. It's really up to you, but this is how you do that. Okay, do you want a sunshade? Yeah, why not? Okay. Now, this currently is telling me my dimensions. So it's telling me it's 2.1 meters high. Now, because my wall is now 4 meters, I might even do 200 high. And I might make it 5 meters wide. Doesn't, you know, there's no, you don't need to be working to Australian standards with this design. You just need to make it fabulous. All right, now we hover our door over the wall. It's obviously not going to bring the thing up when it's not on a wall. So you can see how the sun goes from either side depending on where you put your mouse. You want the sun on the outside. That means it's the outside of the door. Click, and then whichever way you want it to open. Then you have a door. I go to 3D. Hooray, there's my door. I reckon it looks pretty cool. Now, something else to let you know, if I click on my door now in 3D, I can actually change it. So if I went to the settings, I can change it to a rotating door. Or I could change the measurements here. I could say that I want it to be 3 meters wide. Okay. So all of the drawings, 3D, 2D, sections, plans, they all speak to each other. So anything that you change on the plans or 3D or any of the drawings, it changes on all of your other drawings. Now I'm just going to chuck in some really simple doors for everything else now that you know how to do it. Hinge door settings. I might make them 200 so that they match with the rest of my doors. These are going to be my internal doors. And I obviously might want to do some cool doors for I don't know why I'm doing my doors so big, but I am. Okay, and you can do them on the curved wall as well. If we go to O, it means we can orbit. Now we can see how this is working. Looking pretty cool. Okay, now I'm going to pop in some windows. Same deal as the doors. I'm just going to chuck in anything. That'll do. Now, the important measurement here is header to story. So that means the top of the window is sitting at 2.7 meters. Now we know that we've got 4 meters, okay? So all we need to do is change that if we want to. So I'm going to say 3,700 is where I'd like it to sit. It's going to be 3 meters wide and 2 meters tall. All right. Same sort of deal, hover it over, sun on the outside. You're obviously going to make some lovely windows on yours. What I'm going to show you now, I'm going to select one, select another with shift, and then I'm going to change them in here. I don't know, maybe I want some special windows. I don't know, maybe I want this. And I might make them 5 meters wide and 3.7. It's got the header still, great, and 2 meters tall. So see how they've automatically changed? Go to 3D. It's kind of looking like it's starting to develop, isn't it? Fabulous. Don't know what this wall is here, but we'll just say it's dividing the space. All right. Now we want to start, before we put the roof on, I want to show you how to put some objects in. So in your Design Elements tool, your toolbox here, you've got objects. Okay? If you go to the settings, that's actually what changes your objects. So you want to have furnishing. Now there's so many things in here, and you can look things up, you can search them online. I'm just going to chuck a few things in. So you'll see with these, you can change what it looks like. I'm just going to say that for each. You know, do you want a seat here or not? Dimensioning. Seems like my rooms are pretty big, so maybe I'll make them big. Whatever, I'll leave it for the moment. You guys can play with that. What do I want the base to look like? Okay, what's it all made out of? What are my cushions made out of? Whatever. Okay, then I'm going to, this feels like a living space around here. Okay, now I can click on that. Say I've put it there and it's like, oh, I don't 100% want it there, or I want it on a different angle. Click on one of the nodes, I can move it, or I can rotate it. Now to rotate, this little compass comes up, click once, then you draw yourself a guideline, click again, and then rotate. Okay, I might want another one of these, copy, Control C, paste, move it to where I want it, boom. Okay, got some things happening in there. Maybe I will do a bed. You can change everything here. All right, you can change it all. That's up to you guys to have a muck around with, but I'm just going to show you how it's all done now. Now I'm going to move it. Now you can see how automatically it comes back up as the rotate. I need to click drag, bring it over to the window. I might even want it in front of this window. I don't know, that's nice, isn't it? Now there's so much you can find in here. Chuck a coat rack next to my door. Why not? All right, so you can be really creative. There's so much retail stuff. You know, there's kitchens, pool table, whatever. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because you guys can have a muck around with that. However, I'm going to have a bit of a play around and show you how to put visualization in. Now, the reason we use visualization, so people and trees and that sort of thing, generally we use people as an indication of scale. Okay, so I'll click on that, people, got all these lovely people, old mate with his pink shirt. Okay, so he can stand near the pool table. Now you can move him, he's taking it all in. You can also put in any of these people as an indication of scale. Okay, so you then can also use trees in here. So site improvements, I think it is, yeah. Park and street, take that back, garden. All right, so have a muck around with these. Some of them look a bit funky in real life, so just have a bit of a play. Okay, all the measurements will be in here. These are quite small. These are quite small. You can use the larger ones. You can change them all. You can change the measurements. I'm leaving that up to you guys to have a bit of a muck around. Okay, let's have a look in. All right, starting to look like it's developing really well. Last thing I want to do is put on a roof. Now, it's really important with the roof that you know where you'd like the base to sit, because otherwise, generally, it sits at 0. Okay, so it automatically sits at 0. Now, you've got to put it at the top of the wall. So the top of the walls in this instance is 4 meters. So you type in 4,000. Now, generally, I'd take you, actually, I will do that. You're going to trace the outline. Ooh. Backspace if it doesn't work. And then you're going to go around the circle. It's a bit tedious, but it works. And then close it back up and we have a roof. Beautiful. It's quite an amazing looking house. All right, so that's where we're going to leave it for the start of video 1, and then I'll introduce you to different levels in the next video.